Good night, everyone. Johnson. I got this good and God is good all the time. My name is Irvin J. Spirit Divine. I'm here to give you a word on tonight. And the topic going to be Joseph brothers go to Egypt and it will bow down. Now, we left off at Joseph in charge of Egypt. You know, when God had given him a dream when he was 17 years old that he going to be a leader. You know, so it came to pass. You know, so God had worked silence in his life, you know, for him to get that promotion. You know, even though God was quiet, he didn't say his name too much, but he was working behind the scene. So that's what we had talked about yesterday. Today's lesson gonna be Joseph brothers go to Egypt due to famine in Canaan. You know, and Jacob would send his boys to Egypt to buy food. You know, so this page gonna come from Genesis 42, chapter 1 to 38. There are famine in the land of Canaan. You know, so when we talk about yesterday, they had 7 years abundance. Then they had 7 years after that of famine. You know, and so Joseph in charge of the land, of the whole of Egypt. So everybody got to come to Joseph to buy the food and everything. Cause remember, yesterday all the city is got famine. You know, besides Egypt for right now. You know, so now the brothers is looking at each other, and Jacob had told them that he heard they have food in Egypt. So he told them to go down and buy some food and bring it back to him so we all would live and not die. So 10 of Joseph's brothers, it's 10 of them, but it's 11, but Jacob not going to send Benjamin. So he going to send 10 of his sons, you know, send 10 of his sons to Egypt to buy food. And when they get there, they will not recognize Joseph. You know, so Jacob was afraid that harm might come to him, to Benjamin. So he going to send them and leave Benjamin death. That's the last child. Benjamin and Joseph were for Rachel. So Jacob afraid because he had lost Joseph, you know, and what he think that Joseph and Benjamin is the two from Rachel. That's why that's why they is so special to him. Famine in the land of Canaan, and he sent all 10 of his children to Egypt and left one behind. You know, so remember, Joseph is in charge of the governor, you know, in the land. So the person who sold grains to all the people, you know, is Joseph. So Joseph's brother on their way to him, but then they will not recognize Joseph. You know, they did so much evil to Joseph, but then when they get there, they ain't gonna recognize that's Joseph. You know, so now Joseph will see how his dream will come to life. Remember, when Joseph was 17 years old, he dreamed that his brother would bow down to him, and they said, no, they will not bow down to Joseph. We will not bow down to our baby brother. But we will see. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, when Joseph's brother arrived, the first thing they did was bow down to him. You know, bow down with their face. Not only just bow down, but they bow down with their face down to the ground. That this how his dream was. You know, and they had said, oh, we will not bow down to our little brother. You know, but when they entered those doors, that's the first thing they did. They bowed down right in front of Joseph. You know, so Joseph had saw his brothers. And he recognized them. So Joseph recognized his brothers. But then he pretend to be a stranger to them. You know, he started talking rough to them. You know, he just started treating them any kind of way, treating them like he a stranger because Joseph recognized his brother, but the brothers don't recognize him. So he gonna keep on thinking they're spies. You know, he gonna keep on thinking they're spies. You know, just talking rough to him. And now we see that Joseph recognized them, but his brothers didn't recognize him. You know, so now this is the same brothers that throw him in a pit, sold him, but not recognize Joseph. People can do so much evil to you and see you 10 and 15 years later and don't even remember you. They'd have thrown Joseph in a pit, 20 years in the past, and they don't recognize Joseph. Because you remember, he was a little teenager, 17 years old when they throw him in there. So then Joseph remembered his dream. When they had bowed down, then Joseph was looking, and he remembered his dream. Then he's seeing his dream is coming to light. Pieces by piece is coming together of his dream. He's seeing that God plan is coming together. He's seeing his dream coming together because his dream said he's gonna be a leader. Now he a leader. He in charge of everything. So he said to them, "You are spies, that you have come to see what our land is unprotected." So he playing with him. He trying to pretend to be rough to him and talking about y'all spies. And so they said, "No, we come to buy food. We all the sons of one man." And they saying they are honest men and not spies. So now Joseph is keep pretending that they're spies. He keep pretending like he don't know them. He keep pretending like he don't know them. And keep talking about they are spies. And then one thing about the brothers. Back then when Joseph was 17 years old, they were so jealous of Joseph. They were just so evil. But now, you can see that they're no ground. They say we honest men when it wasn't honest before. So they done changed a whole lot. And Joseph, he got a little grudge a little bit. Because one is I think that was his wife. She came, there was Reuben, the oldest son Reuben, Simpson, they left him behind. And so the guard was beating him, and Joseph looking and standing up, just looking. And then the wife had said, you need healing. You're not gonna stop him from being your brother. He wanted to stop. And then he changed his mind, because he been through so much trials without his father, So who lived in the land of Canaan, the youngest, is now with our father, and one is no more. So Joseph saying they're spies, and see that's another thing. When they go back to their father, Jacob said, "Why y'all put this curse on us? Why you told them that you have another brother at the house?" They ain't had to say anything. He knew he had a brother at the house. But just like Jacob said, why you told him you had a brother at the house? So Joseph saying to the spies that they're not leaving this palace unless your youngest brother come here. So the rest of you will stay in prison. And so he is testing them, to see if they're telling the truth. And Joseph put them in custody for 3 days. Now he's telling them, y'all go back home. Bring back the youngest brother. But the rest of them gonna stay here in this prison. So on the third day, Joseph said, let one stay and the rest of you go. So that's when Simpson had to stay, and the guard was beating him. So and bring back the youngest. He started saying bring back the youngest brother, because the younger brother is really his brother from them two have the same mama. So now they still don't know that's Joseph. They still don't know that's Joseph. Joseph is being so mean and rough to him right now. So all the brothers is talking among themselves. And they think, they are being punished because of their brother. And now they're thinking how Joseph was pleading for his life, but they will not listen. That's why this distress has come on us. And Reuben, the oldest brother, says, did I tell you not to harm this boy? You see, they're standing on the side talking among themselves. And they don't know this Joseph, but Joseph's standing right there. And he could listen to everything they're saying. You know, they is guilty in saying we being punished for how we treated our brother. We just left him in a pit. Then when people got him out of there, then we turned around and sold him. And then the one of the brothers said he said he was pleading for his life. And we still did not help him. And Joseph standing up there listening. And remember, they don't even know that's Joseph. And now they're talking, they're rehearsing, you know, what they did to Joseph. And now the bad things coming to them and they think they're being punished. You know, they think they're being punished. And Reuben, the older brother, had told them, I had told y'all to do not mess with this boy. You know, so now they think they're being punished. And now we must give an account for his blood. And they're talking and didn't realize that's Joseph. And he could understand them since he was using interpreter. He was using interpreter. So that means he understand everything they were saying. You know, so Joseph wept and sins was taken from them and bound before their eyes. Now Joseph had hold a little grudge. You know, he hold a little grudge because when he saw, first he said, y'all stop beating him. And then he started having a flashback of what they did to him, and he walked away and allowed his brothers to get beaten by the guard. You know, so that means he was holding a little grudge. And while Samson was in prison, they was beating him, and Joseph walked away. He walked away. He wanted them to get a little taste of how he felt when he was pleading for his life for them. And they refused to get him out of that pit. You know, so Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, you know, to put each man's silver back in his sack and to give them provision for their journey. And see, Joseph looking out for them, because he know that's his brothers. You know, so he putting silver and everything in their sack before they go home. You know, so they're on their journey back home. And they stop for the night. And one of them opened this sack and they saw the food, they saw silver, they saw all kind of stuff in their sack. You know, and their hearts sank and they turned to each other trembling because they don't know how it got in their bag. See, they're scared because they think one of them stole it and they're going to come after them. And they don't know Joseph put all that stuff in their bags. You know, so they finally made it home to their father Jacob and Canaan, and they told him everything that this person, they call him the Lord, you know, how this person was treating them, you know, with them and take food for your starving household. Now he give them so much food to take home because he know that's his father that they trying to feed. You know, so but bring your youngest brother. He started saying, bring your youngest brother, you know, to me so I can know that you are not spies but honest men. And then I will give your brother back to you and you can trade in the land. You know, so Jacob said no. Joseph, no move. Samson is no more. He said Joseph is no more. Samson is no more. And they want to take Benjamin. Because, see, the brothers came and told him everything. They said, we need to take Benjamin back to them. And Jacob said, no. He said, Joseph go, Samson go. He said, no, I'm not giving you my youngest child. I already lost Joseph. You know, so Jacob said no. He said, Joseph is no more. Samson is no more. Now, Reuben want Jacob to trust him that he will bring Benjamin back. Just like he was there. And he allowed that to happen to Joseph. So, you know, so what he want Jacob to do? Jacob to trust his youngest child just like they were supposed to watch over Joseph. You know, so Jacob said his brother is dead, and he is the only one that's left. You know, and if harm come to him on the journey that you are taking, you know, you will bring my gray hair down to the grave in the soil. You know, so Jacob like, no, you ain't protect my other son. My other son is gone. So no. So Joseph had a dream at 17 years old, about his future and God planned, and that his brothers will bow down to him. Now we see that they bow down, to the ground, to Joseph. Joseph also flee, his Joseph also see his dream. He seen his dream coming to life. Because when he saw his brother enter and saw them bow down, then he started thinking, okay, I see my dream is coming to pass. It was coming to pass. He said he told them they was gonna bow down, but they refused to listen. So his brothers did evil, throw him in a pit, and then sold him and but get but he got to Egypt, and he did not recognize that Joseph, who they thrown in the pit. So Joseph did not leave Egypt because he know that what God had wanted him to be. Because he was 17 years old. He could have left and went home. He could have left and went home, but he chose to stay. Just like he said, he knew that was God's plan. You know, God placed that dream in him about God plan and his future. And we see everything is coming to pass. Everything is coming to life. So brothers tough love. More than 20 years have passed, since Joseph was sold into slavery. So it's no wonder his brothers don't recognize him, especially consider his powerful position. You know, the brothers don't even recognize Joseph, and then they don't recognize that he's in position. So now Joseph is giving them tough love. He tests them to see to see how they will respond. And the brother is feeling guilty over the evil action that they had committed against their brother Joseph. One of them talking about our brother was feeding. He was pleading for us for his life, and they still love Joseph's death. And they even stated how Joseph was pleading for his life. Now Joseph already give them, but giving tough love, saying they are spies. Now Joseph's dream was that he would be in charge, a leader, a king. And 20 years later, he all those things that God said he gonna be. That he is now a powerful ruler over Egypt. For 20 years his brother had guilt. Joseph see how his brother had grown, and they are no longer jealous but have examined their conscience and recognized their guilt. But at least they recognized their guilt. And they were like, we're not gonna buy time. We're not gonna buy down to our little brother. When they entered, that's the first thing he did. They did bow down. They bow down to Joseph. So when the brothers came home with a bad report, Jacob said everything is against him. When they had came home with a bad report and told him what happened to Joseph, Jacob had said, he said, everything is coming against me. And we all feel like that sometimes. We can have so much stuff coming at us, and we going to say, man, everything's coming against us. So how many times we felt like Jacob, their life are tearing us down. And you feel like Jacob, like every time, everything is against us. Jacob's focused on the losses, and he had experienced in the losses that were yet to come. One son dead and two more doomed to death. So what Jacob don't know, that God is about to unveil amazing news. What he don't know, God is about to unveil some amazing news, to his brothers. They thought Joseph was dead. But they didn't know he wasn't dead. They didn't know they sold him. But Jacob thought his son was dead. So the dead son is alive, and he wants to reunite with his family. You know, so Jacob doesn't recognize the strong wind that are about to blow more joy than he could ever imagine. You know, so Jacob had many bad days. You know, he lost his father, he lost his mother Rachel, you know, and Joseph, and they want his son Benjamin. Jacob felt like everything is coming against him. And sometimes it feels that way. Like bad things, you know, will always happen. You know, but it's the will that God said our trials are temporary and it will come to pass. You know, so we see that Joseph's brothers is coming to Egypt because they have famine in their land and they don't have enough food. Jacob sent them to go buy some food, you know, but they don't know that their brother is in charge. He in position. You know, you got to go to Joseph for food, just like he told him in your dream. You got to come to Joseph for food. You know, you're going to bow down to Joseph. You know, what you said you weren't going to do to your little brother. You know, you throw him in a pit. You sold him for slavery. But then now you have to go to Joseph for food. And you're going to buy down to do it. You know, the table had turned. You know, the brother was just so mean and evil. You know, you're going to throw your own brother in a pit. But now you got to go to that little brother that you say you will never buy down to. You know, so this all the word I have for you on today, on tonight, and y'all have a blessed night, and I'll see y'all on the next video.